I think this is on, all right, because I just like, all right, it's 5:26 p.m. on Sunday, November 30th, 2014, and this program wasn't working, so I had to just reinstall it, and then just like I tried it again, but the mic wasn't working, so like I just tried it again. Anyway, so I hope you guys had a good weekend, and I'm not really sure about what I'm going to talk about, because well, again, yeah, because I just don't, and I'm not really sure why I'm doing this. I mean, like I kind of like, to me, it's kind of like art. It's something that maybe isn't done enough, something like that. But beyond that, I'm not really sure. So okay, well, all right, I'm gonna like go with that. I'm gonna kind of like explore. All right, so like one thing that I was kind of like, I was in town earlier today. I was walking back home, and I was like thinking to myself, this is kind of like, this is a little stressful. This is like, I was like, I wasn't kind of maybe feeling in the mood to do this per se, but I think it was kind of like I was feeling maybe a little intimidated, you know, um, and so maybe, I think that has something to do, I think, with why I'm doing this. Just the idea of that stuff like this shouldn't be intimidating. It is, for various reasons. I mean, like we all tend to judge, and people. Oh, I gotta start smiling in this because, like, yes, we all tend to judge, and like, and we judge ourselves. We judge each other and stuff, and we kind of like, when I put this stuff up here, sometimes I'll look at it. I'll listen to it, whatever, and we can judge how we come across in various ways, and like. So I think I think that part of why I'm doing this is like to overcome that, to just like to say fuck it. I mean, just basically to put it out there and be kind of like oblivious to judgment, to my own judgment, to the judgment of others, and because I think this is part of the art. The art is like, I was thinking about this earlier. People like, say, for example, who are into like retail clothing or fashion or something, I imagine that like when they're walking down the street, they're probably looking at people's clothes and, kind of like, reaching some kinds of conclusions about, about the person, about society, about whatever. I don't know. I kind of like, I'm focusing a lot now on happiness. I mean, I've focused on it a lot over the last, God, 30 years, but more so, I guess, 10 years or so. Um, but and so like so I I mean, around this time of year, it's kind of cool because I do especially see some of the younger people who are like much more visibly happy. They express that. But in general, especially other times of the year, again, I don't as much, and it's not just that. It's about like, I think I mentioned last what am I calling this, journal, video journal, last video journal, about like the idea that people don't really connect. People are afraid to connect, and we're kind of like taught when we're really young, that don't talk to strangers. And like when we become adults, like we just never, we never realize. Wait a minute, that was for when we were kids. It's all right to talk to strangers as adults, but that it's much more than that. It's kind of like, you go out into the street, and like we're so compartmentalized in terms of like who we are. We're either like, you know, we've got a lot of money, we're very attractive, we're like a sports person, we're a certain so we're a certain ethnicity. We're a certain, and a lot of stuff, like maybe it's not, there's more to it. There's like, we're a musician, we're in finance, we're a scientist, we're a housewife, there's a lot of we just like, this idea of individuality. I mean, it's great. We're all doing our own thing. But, I think you guys, if you remember like back in school, there were the different groups, the jocks and all the different groups. And it's not a criticism, of us, because I mean, like, it's certainly not a criticism of us because, like, well, because that's how we were basically conditioned. That's how we were basically conditioned. And, it's not like we had any choice. I mean, we didn't have a free will. I don't blame us for anything. I can't blame anything, I don't think, for anything. But the reason I'm mentioning it isn't as a critique, but kind of like as, you know, as the way things are, and maybe not the way things have to be now. Who knows? Like, it may take decades for a new kind of paradigm to emerge where people are like remember when you were in kindergarten or something, where like, you didn't have to know another little kid next to you if they were playing with a toy or a game or something that you were into. You kind of like, you just like weren't you weren't shy about, approaching a person and all that. I mean, like, there are some people in the world that, are able to do that. I admire that a lot. I'm not one of them, because I think I'm not one of them. Actually, I am one of them. But the thing is, like, some people will approach people regardless of how they perceive that person to be. Whether they seem closed or preoccupied or whatever. Some people just, hey, how you doing? All that stuff. I'm not like that. It's not like that I'm afraid to approach people, but like they have to kind of like appear somewhat open, open to being approached. And, so like very few people are like that, and I think especially in like metropolitan areas, I mean, White Plains, like, we're like 50,000, 57,000 people, I think. But now it's kind of like, there's a lot of cultures. There's like white people, black people, Hispanics, Asians, and then so those are the basic kind of like ethnicities. And then there's like, it's like everybody's different from each other. and and I think, I don't know why I'm going in this way, but I am. I think part of what's, I don't know. A long time ago, there were like, 7 or 8 TV stations, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, around here. And that was it. Everybody watched the same thing, pretty much. I mean, you had some people who watched Star Trek, other people watched like the sitcoms or whatever. But, so now, all right, so basically everybody's like different, and there's, what's cool about being different is you can do what you want, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. But again, it just kind of like compartmentalizes us all. And all right, so maybe that's why I'm doing this. I don't know. I see this, like, what I'm doing now is like, what am I doing? Social commentary. I mean, like, that's the thing. So like, part of, I think, what I want this to be is self-expression about me, I guess, not about, issues and like, because my what I tend to do is I'll identify some kind of like need, like people aren't nearly as happy as they should be, could be, whatever, or other stuff, and I'll work on it, and like, and so it's kind of like advocacy and instruction, and I do research, I try to find some stuff, and I try to like share it, whatever. And like, that's cool, but like, I do a lot of that, I've got my shows and my meetups and all this stuff. So I want this to be different, but that I think that's where it gets more intimidating. And part of it is like, part of it, no, I can't say, like, again, like, why do you not see this kind of stuff on Facebook? because because it's revealing. You know, it's in other words because like none of us really has anything to say, and so like so people say to themselves, so why am I going to get in front of the camera knowing I have nothing to say and just have the world understand this? You know, I mean, like I don't know, that might be part of it, but no, I mean, like why do people not do this? Because like back a few years ago, I was kind of like advocating. Again, I'm still advocating. I can't but advocate. But but so I don't know why people don't do this, and maybe eventually I want to I want to continue doing this because like on my way home saying I've done 2 days and I don't want to have something else that I feel I need to do every day that I commit myself to. And but on the other hand, I think I want to do this, because it's that kind of like thing of like face your fear. I've got one of these things on my refrigerator that says, do the thing you fear to do or something like that. I don't know, one of those things. I rarely do. I rarely face my fears because like, for example, I was watching this movie, The Shawshank Redemption, about 3 days ago or a couple of days ago or so. And like, it's kind of like a prison film, right? So like in one scene, you have this prison guard just kick the hell out of somebody, the person like so badly the person dies. And so like, and I said, all right, let me just stay with it. Cause like, from the, these trailers are getting very deceiving. They will, they'll suck you in, with like the positivity of a film, and they won't make you aware of like the gratuitous, a lot of times, violence and negativity. But so anyway, so like, a little further along in the film, I saw that they were going to go there again, in some other way, in some other circumstance. I said to myself, I don't need this. I don't, cause like, even in like a couple days after that, I was still thinking of that scene, with the guard and the guy, whatever. And so like, so basically I'm trying to say, I don't tend to face my fears sometimes like that because I'm not sure that's all that wise. It's kind of like, like inviting some negativity, what, just so you can get over it? I mean, like, there's a lot of things like, you can like hit yourself with a hammer, face the fear of like, being in a lot of pain. I don't think that's like, useful. So, but like, but I think there are fears and there are fears. There's some fears that are like, not useful to face, and there are others that I think are. And I think this is, I don't know. Because again, like, I'm trying to figure out why I'm doing this. And I don't know. I mean, like the easy answer again, this is cool. This is like a journal about why I'm journaling. I mean, it started like a friend of mine said, hey, you should start keeping a journal, right? And I said, yeah, maybe I should. And I was thinking of a blog, but that involves a lot of typing, and I'm just tired of doing some writing and stuff, especially on a computer screen and all that. So this was like easier, just instead of writing, you just get it out there. So like, and well, the purpose of the journaling was to kind of like explore stuff, because I really am going through a period in my life where there are a lot of changes, and it's kind of like pretty much just beginning, but it's pretty cool. A lot of it has to do with like this perspective that absolutely nothing is up to us. But there's more to it than that. The happiness stuff. I just got into this idea of like, well, minimize wants. If you don't want anything, that is like such a cool state to be in. And so I kind of like have to reason that through and stuff like that. But so yeah, so like I'm kind of like trying to figure out what this is about, and we're like almost 15 minutes into this, and I'm not going to limit myself. If I go 30, if I go, I want to go at least 20 or so. I don't know, maybe not. But so, huh. Yeah, so in a certain sense, like a journal is kind of like self-therapy. It's like, everything is therapy. My God, you read, that's therapy. You watch TV or on the Facebook. It's all therapy. It's like, we're tending to our psychological needs, wants, all this stuff. But so why else? So what? I mean, like I want to kind of like, and I do and I don't. In other words, like I kind of like, yeah, no, I do, because this is like about me. It's like, if I don't really understand what I'm doing, then I'm not really advocating, because like, I have to like pretty much have a position and something to offer in order to advocate. So like, so this, I'm just trying to figure stuff out. So and this is, so this, yes, this goes much more in line with what I want these video journal things to be about. It's hard to smile all the time, because like, that's why, it's a very good skill to, I should do that, because like, when I'm walking around not doing anything, I try to smile because it just feels good, no other reason. It feels good, and I don't give a fuck what people think, what am I going to like minimize my happiness because somebody might like say, well, what's this guy smiling at? No, it's not going to happen. But like, and like, I feel a bit dumb in a way, because like, it's like, that joke about people not being able to like walk and chew gum at the same time. I feel I'm not able to like talk and smile at the same time. I mean, I don't know, but I want to get better at it. Maybe some other time. I'm a little tired. It's been a long weekend. I went to Manhattan yesterday. That's pretty cool. We had a happiness group, and there's some young kid, he scheduled, I organized the group, but I'm bringing in like co-hosts. So like he's hosting the first and third Saturday, I'm hosting the second and fourth, and like every fifth I'm supposed to host also. But like, he had his, I guess, aunt and uncle coming into Manhattan. I guess he wanted to impress them, so he emailed me, hey, can I host this? And so I let him, whatever. So like, it was a pretty cool group. There was about 11 of us. It was nice turnout. All right, back to why am I doing this? Yeah, I want to figure this out. Correct. All right, because there's certain ways to certain perspectives. One is art, and art is like, well, like you notice something about the world. People are kind of like, you notice a need. It's kind of like art is kind of like. It's kind of like sales in a way. It's kind of like marketing. You notice a need and you try to fill it, but it's different, So all right, so so it is art in a way, and part of the art, in other words, like in standard marketing, you gotta like you gotta have a product that you've what do you call that? You just like when you get people together and you focus group, you focus group them, and you kind of like, you see how marketable they are, and you've got a finished product, right? So this isn't anything like that, because this product, it's not, I don't even know what it is, in terms of like something that's artistic. But all right, so it is, you can perceive it as art. And again, the need, the value, the potential value, whatever, is that I see these walls between us. Everybody, the whole world is like, everybody's so pretentious, and like, it has a lot to do with people's jobs. I think everybody's pretty familiar, and so it's kind of like, it's a rational reason. Like, people are afraid, well, if my boss, saw me like, let's say drinking beers online, or if you're in a state where weed is legal, just smoking a joint online, or even just like being online, doing a video and saying something like this, where you're absolutely not saying anything of any critical major importance, whatever. People are afraid to do that, I think, because they're afraid of the man. They're afraid of like offending the powers that be. My personal situation, like I fortunately don't have that fear, to contend with, which is nice, I guess. So that's kind of good. Yes, like, this is the way, because like, ideally, if I'm like destined to do this, and because I never know, by next week I said, like, I might say like, you know, this was nice, but it's tiring, and I'd rather do other stuff, or I'd rather just meditate or whatever, then that might be what happens. But like if I'm fated, if this is fated to happen, and let's say it encourages other people who are, let's say it's like this might encourage somebody, let's say to most people, people say, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's not saying anything. It's not entertaining, and yada, yada, yada. All right, so most people this may not reach, right? But it might reach a few where maybe they get it. They get what I'm trying to do, and they're able to do it much better. Maybe they have more to say, or maybe they don't have more to say, but the way they say what they don't have to say is much more entertaining or whatever. I don't know. And so maybe, you know, that's a hope. That's a kind of like, you know, except I don't want to try to want it, you know, because like, again, I'm like anti-wants. But all right, so like, again, I want to like stay with this, you know, why am I doing this? What else? I think it's, no, all right, sorry. Because I don't want to like, all right, it's about, you know, it's about inspiring connection, but it's more than that. It's about like, from a personal standpoint, if I didn't do this, then I wouldn't be questioning this the way I am now. I mean, like, for example, like I'm talking, I mean, if I was writing about it, then certainly I would be, but I'm not going to write about it because I don't want to write about it. And if I'm not writing and talking about it, then I'm not thinking about it to the extent or degree that might be necessary to kind of like understand it, you know, as much as I would like to, for whatever reason. Because then I ask myself, well, why do I want to understand this? And I don't know, you know, because I'm kind of like against understanding a bit now. Like, you know, I'm getting into this Buddhist stuff, you know, just be, you know. So what else? All right, we've got like 22 minutes and 24 seconds. And okay, so yeah, so this is so basically I am trying to understand this, and maybe I'll understand why I'm trying to understand this. Maybe there is a purpose, who knows? But you know, there's that expression, no ifs, ands, and buts. For a while, like I was thinking to myself, maybe there's something wise about that. So in my writing, I'll try to write without ifs, ands, and buts. I don't know. Okay, what else? What else? What else? I don't know. I don't know. And that's all right that I don't know. Because you don't know. Because nobody knows. Well, no, you know some things. I mean, like, we know some things. But, I mean, like, we're like, you know, I was just thinking about, somebody was talking about this. I was listening to a podcast about, like, learning stuff. You know, they're talking about, like, wasting time. Like, for example, if you're playing this video game on a subway or something, you're wasting time. You could be reading a book. You could be, like, you know, yada, yada, yada. And, like, and then I asked myself, well, you know, what is the value of learning, let's say like reading a novel, you know, as opposed to playing a video game? Why do we like perceive one as being more valuable or elevated or noble or whatever than the other? Because I mean, it could be the case, and it probably is the case, that people who, you know, read novels are such shit a lot. I mean, there's, you know, the reason I can't read them is because, like, you've got, like, a lot of novelists have, like, distorted lives, distorted minds, and it's like they put their nonsense out there. And, well, I'm kind of like doing this here, I guess, in a way, but not really. I mean, a lot of it, you know, this is well, I don't know. No, but I don't, you know, basically what I'm trying to say, a lot of times I don't read novels because somebody's getting killed. Somebody's like trying to like get over on someone. It's all this you know, negativity that I don't see in my life. I'm sorry, I just don't see it in my life on a day-to-day basis. I don't think most people do. So why people gravitate to that kind of stuff in novels and movies and stuff, I don't understand. So, and my basic point was that, like, if you have somebody who is who's playing a stupid video game, and they're enjoying themselves, and they're not immersing themselves in that negativity that might come from the novel or the, the action adventure movie, whatever. I mean, some of these video games are like crazy. I mean, like how many people can you kill, in a minute? But a lot of them are just like simple, they're not negative in any way. So anyway, all right, that's not what so what else? Okay, it's like 25:30, and so this is good. Oh yes, this is cool. This is very cool. All right, so like I lowered the resolution back to 720p because I noticed that like at 1080p, it just took like about an hour to process after I was done with the video, and then it took like much longer to upload because it was a much larger file. And then when I listened to it and watched it, I didn't notice a difference in sound quality or visual quality. So this one, once it's done, I click a button, doesn't have to be processed, and then when I upload it, it just uploads. But here's the thing. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Cause like one thing that I'd like to do is I wanna experiment. I just want to like move the camera a little. Oh, all right. I didn't want to do that, but that's all right. Okay. When was it? I attended this conversation seminar at Columbia University about 6 months ago, 7 months ago, I don't know. And I had this great idea then. It was about the art of conversation. A lot of times, like, people we're not good conversationalists, a lot of us. We tend to like just talk and talk and talk and talk, but it's not like, I think great conversation has a lot more back and forth to it. A lot of people are storytellers, they're not really good conversations. But anyway, so like the idea that came to me during this was that that it would be so cool, because this is again getting back to this division between us, this separation between people that we notice and we accept and we deal with by kind of like constraining ourselves within a few people, our family and close friends, and the rest of humanity in a certain sense doesn't exist. That's how we deal with it. But it's kind of like, it's unfortunate. It could be like, ideally if we survive climate change and all this, it'd be nice if at some point, wait a minute, hold on for a second. I got to do something. I just want to make sure that my computer isn't overheating. And, wait a minute. So, hold on. Sorry. All right, I just want to keep track of the temperature. 115, that's right. All right, so because like it's warm in here, and I want it warm because I don't want to, it's cold out there. But anyway, like at this this is pretty cool. It has like, some settings that you can play with. So anyway, at this conference, the idea came to me, and I said it, like, my ideas sometimes are like, very advanced, or like, they're too out there to succeed very much because, like, whatever. But anyway, the idea was, I am like so tired, but I don't care. I want to do this. I may be thirsty. I don't think I have any water nearby. I mean, I could take a quick, run to the refrigerator and come back. Yeah, I am thirsty, all right? So hold on, I'll be right back. Wait a minute. All right. So anyway, so at this conference, the idea was, and is, because I'd like to do this, be kind of like hard to organize. You get a group of people together, It doesn't matter whether they're strange. I guess I think with this kind of experiment, it may be that if you know the people really well, actually, that might make it harder because then people know each other's buttons much more, um, much better, whatever. But here the idea is like you get a group of people together in conversation, and you just let it go. In other words, like imagine, let's say, even going away for a retreat, a weekend. You just like maybe 24 people or 12. 12 maybe is better number. And the purpose. I've been to like a retreat where we just meditated the entire weekend, and we weren't allowed to talk to each other, which is kind of like bogus, whatever. But like, and everybody, a lot of people were in a lot of pain because they were like kneeling. And I brought a beach chair. I wasn't getting it, but it's true. But all right, so like so this is kind of like a meditation retreat. There's different kinds of retreats, but this is like a conversation retreat. So basically, these 12 people are gathered together. There's one conversation. Yeah, you can even have this rule. Well, yes, there's a very cool rule. I mean, fewer rules the better in a sense, but like the rule is like that you can only talk within the group, and there's one conversation that starts, let's say, the evening you get there, let's say some kind of a Friday evening, and continues throughout the entire retreat, and naturally, like if you need to kind of like, if you need a breather, if you need to like, need some time to yourself, whatever, you can, I think you have to have that kind of like leeway to be able to like, just go on your own, whatever. But when you're on your own, you can't talk to people. I think that'd be a cool rule, just as one rule. And so like, all right, so in other words, like, talk about anything. It doesn't matter. Talk about, yeah, anything. That's the thing. Like, have the conversation be completely open-ended. So let's say the conversation starts at 7 p.m. some evening, Friday evening. And let's say people, first night, maybe people will talk till 1 in the morning. I don't know, maybe 11, who knows, if maybe they've come from work or something, maybe they're tired. But anyway, so like that next Saturday morning, people are early risers sometimes, just the conversation might start at 8 or 9, and it just continues throughout the day, like throughout until like 11 or 12 that day. And again, the same thing Friday, just one conversation. And so what's the purpose of this? Extroverts tend to be kind of like energized by people. Interaction kind of makes them feel good and energizes them, and it just makes them feel good. Introverts actually experience somewhat of the opposite reaction. Like when they're around people for too much time, they start getting stressed out. And I think I'm an introvert. I think definitely, because like, I mean, I like to be with people. Some of these conversations, like I had this meetup in Manhattan on free will. No, it was on happiness. It was on happiness. This was like 4 or 5 months ago, and we started around 5. And was it at 5? No, it might have been 4 actually. And we were still there at 9:30, just like, and at around 7 or 8, we started just talking about other things and all. But I think sometimes conversations like that can, really, I get over my inhibitions, I was thinking of like an inhibitedness. I don't know if that's a word, but I get over that, and like, and anyway, so like. So this would be such a cool thing to do. And so, all right, what's the purpose? And again, I'm like teaching, but yeah, I'm kind of teaching in a way, but not really, because like the other part of this is like, I'm trying to figure this out for myself also. In other words, like, I'd like to be able to do this. I would definitely like to be able to do this. And like, if I talk about it some, then maybe I will, because I definitely have a forum for it. I'm an event organizer in this like meetup in Manhattan called Conversations New York, and we've got about maybe 800 members now, whatever. I run maybe 5 or 6 meetups in it, each month. No, not well, yeah, something like that. But so like, I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose of this is. The purpose is to overcome, to understand what goes on when we begin to spend too much time with people interacting, when we ordinarily, all right, I'm stressed, all right, when people ordinarily, go to their separate corners or whatever, to just, and that's not an accurate kind of like a metaphor or whatever, because like people just, because not all, some, even like in very enjoyable interactions, sometimes after 3-4 hours of like talking or less, that's the thing. What happens? The simple answer is we get a bit stressed out, but there's much more to it. And that would be the purpose. Actually, no. Or going back to like this retreat thing, this conversation thing, there would be, you can talk about other stuff, but I think one central theme, I think to tie everything together, should be, somebody's singing, that's right. Something, it should be to understand the dynamics of conversation, to understand what's going on, like, why are we talking about what we're talking about? What are we getting from it? And then when we feel the need to kind of like, for example, this would be perfect. Let's say somebody after 3 hours of conversation leaves the group, and they're out for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or not ideally, no. It'd be nice if like, well, I don't know if you can have a rule about this, because you don't want anybody freaking out, like, you have a rule, well, you got to come back in 10 minutes. And meanwhile, they're stressed out and they're getting more stressed now. So, but ideally, I think maybe suggesting is like, don't take breaks more than 10 minutes or something. I don't know. But anyway, like, somebody like goes out on a break, comes back, and if the group, is amenable to it, whatever, because, I think it has to be kind of like a group consensus. Or, no, I mean, there's got to be time. So in other words, like, there's going to be a time when that person has in other words, the theme might be something else. The theme, hold on, somebody's singing. I don't know, whatever. So the theme is that, no, the group might be talking about something, whatever it is, and they might have been talking about it for, let's say, half an hour or an hour already, and they want to stay on that train of thought, but this person comes back. So, I mean, I think it'd be kind of like, okay to kind of like, in those kinds of circumstances, take maybe 5 minutes to have the person just like, explain, or 5-10 minutes. No, actually, no. Yeah, because this is actually part of the reason for the conversation retreat. You have the person kind of like explain. The group begins to explore what the person's going to, why the person had to leave, what the person was feeling, and stuff like that. Because the different people, I think, are going to need to leave the group for different reasons. So then you kind of like you explore that, and so yeah, so like the idea is to kind of like to better understand the barriers or the challenges to engagement, to staying engaged with others, to like staying connected, and that's just one of the purposes. Because again, like to better understand why people get together and talk, why people are social, what the main kinds of benefits are to that. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Um, All right, I'm getting bored with that. So like, so that'd be a cool thing to do. Um, now what? Um, oh no. So like, returning to this. So I'm at 40 minutes already. I don't give a fuck. I'll go half an hour, and I'm a little tired or whatever, but I don't care because this is like an experiment, you know. So I'm gonna go as long as I can, Pretty cool. Just go like, all right, no, no, no. But all right. And yes, because here's the thing. So like, again, like, you know, I'm kind of like acknowledging and accepting that I'm not going to be all that interesting because like if you come on to a venue and you don't really know what you're going to talk about, unless you're like an extrovert who's like a born entertainer and just like a storyteller. Some people like that can carry this off really well, whatever. But like ordinarily, this kind of presentation without an intent can't be all that interesting in a certain sense. Um, and so I think what I'm trying to say is like, but nonetheless, whoever's like me right now, I'm trying to make it entertaining because like, I mean, I've got like some ego, pride, whatever. I don't want to like, even to my own self, I don't want to like present myself as, completely boring or whatever. But here's the thing. I mean, to the extent that I'm not nearly as entertaining as I would like to be or whatever, that's part of what I want to do for myself. Like I want to kind of like, have accentuate or amplify this kind of idea of acceptance, of not wanting, not having this expectation, not having this kind of like this goalpost to need to succeed toward or whatever. All right, 42 minutes rather. And part of yeah, I'm going to meander a bit. Part of this is like I feel a little guilty about doing this because I've just taken on a bit too much. I'm bringing on a new co-host to my White Plains Exploring Regional Free Will show, and we just started a forum. And I haven't been on it all that much because of the Thanksgiving holidays, and I'm feeling a little guilty. But I need to do this for myself. Okay, yeah, and it's so cool. Like YouTube. I mean, sometimes sometimes you'll see like on YouTube. I don't know. You'll say full movie. Some movie you want to see, and it says like it's like 2 or 3 or 4 hours. It might be a really long movie, and you see the timestamp on it. It says, "Whoa, they do have the," but it's really when you go to click the link, it's this one panel, and it says like click the arrow on the description for it takes you to some other site. YouTube shouldn't allow that really, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is like so yeah, YouTube will allow 2, 3, 4 hour videos, and I don't think I'm going to be able to go that long today, but it's cool because like some other day I will. That's going to be, oh yes, all right. See, this is coming together. It's like, all right, so this is like art, and I'm trying to experiment. I'm trying to figure this out. So one of the things that I'm going to be, one of my goals is to try to extend this as much as possible, to try to talk as much as possible. And this is great because like the temperature, the computer sometimes is afraid to get too hot, whatever, but no, it's doing fine. And right, once I upload them to YouTube, eventually I'm gonna have to kind of like, well, I'll buy another hard drive or something, portable. I don't know if I should keep these, whatever, not whatever. But anyway, to like, yes, to have this go on, to have this go on and on and on, because why? Well, to see what happens is the clearest answer. I mean, if you were to do this, I used to do this actually. See, sometimes I'm afraid of like getting too personal because I am not your ordinary person. I'm sorry, I'm just not. I have things about me that are different. My whole focus on the idea that absolutely nothing is up to us, to the extent that I'm doing these shows and the website and the books and all that, that's kind of uncommon. It's not, and the academics, they don't do nearly as much on this as I do. They don't lead the meetups. They might like talk about it with their classes once a year for maybe a couple of days. They might write a book every 5-10 years, but that's about it. But like this is kind of like, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is like, yes, I am different in certain ways, and that kind of like, and I'm going to try to overcome that. I'm going to try to say, well, fuck it, I don't care. I'm at 57 years old. I mean, big deal. But like, so what I wanted to say, what I was trying to say is like, I've done this before. Basically about 20 years ago. Is it 20 years ago? I think maybe 20 years ago or so. 15, 20 years ago. I developed this technique called verbal self-analysis, which was pretty cool. Basically, at one point I would speak out my thoughts instead of just thinking them. Because like when you speak out your thoughts, I don't know if you'll notice, like you might want to try this at home sometime. Not when people are around, because I think, oh, this person's talking to themselves, whatever. But like what happens, what you do is like you talk out your thoughts instead of just thinking them. And this is great when you're trying to figure something out. Because, again, this is like the reason why people talk to each other a lot, because it's a sounding board, But again, you don't need another person. That's what this discovery was about. I realized, wait a minute, just talking this stuff out can help you understand. It makes the thoughts clearer and stronger. So back then, I made about 500 hour-and-a-half tapes, and I think I got rid of all but maybe about 50 because, like, I live in a studio apartment. I have all that room, so I just like chucked the rest of them, whatever. But it was a very cool experience. So this is similar to that. The only thing different about that and this is that I'm going to share this stuff and I'm going to put it online. So it kind of like, whatever. I mean, like I think I had 8 views on each of my last 2 videos. So, people aren't really watching this, and that's fine. But yeah, so like the idea is to try to figure out what happens in the course of just like talking about whatever. And some people, and of course the difference is, I mean, people do this. I mean, people will talk to each other on the phone for hours. I think people who use the phone a lot will do that. But it's a bit different, kind of like just doing this is kind of like a soliloquy in a way, just, not to another person per se, not having any feedback. It's a bit harder. All right, what else? Up means up. I don't know why I always go down, whatever. All right, so, all right, we're like at 48 minutes and 23 seconds, and I don't know what else to say. and I might as well say, not knowing what I want to say, that this is a perfect example of why we don't have a free will. I mean, if we had free wills, we would never be at a loss for what to say, because it'd be up to us. But no, the reality is like that what I'm saying now, what I'm saying next, what I was saying is stuff just comes to me. Think about it. Think about, like in 10 seconds I'll be saying something, 5, 7 seconds, and then you'll be thinking something about what I just said, but you won't know what it is until it enters your mind. These thoughts just come to us, and I'm not going to get into that because I have 175 episodes. Got to go back in the studio on December 6th to tape some more, and so yeah, no, I want this to be about other stuff. So. Let's see, what else? I don't know, and that's all right. And I don't care. I'll just like if I have to like sit here and say I don't know what to talk about for the next 10 minutes, I will. I don't think that'll happen though. but it may. All right, what else? I like weekends, but I kind of like the work week because, like, like everyone else, I'm obsessed with work, which is really beat. Um, a couple of centuries ago, when people like were fortunate enough to like raise themselves out of the almost ubiquitous poverty that gripped everyone, and they were able to make money, and they didn't have to work anymore. A long time ago, a couple of centuries ago, people would just stop working and they would cultivate, the art of life, paint, dance, whatever they did right, who knows. But in today's times, very few of us are wise enough to do this. We will just like we're workaholics. We're just like, we just work and work and work and work. A lot of us. I mean, some of us are, fortunately not like that. Okay. So, okay. See, this is good. Now it's getting hard, and this is what the group would experience, in that conversation retreat. You know, well, what are we going to talk about? And that's when you begin to like sound stupid. Because because like yeah, when we don't have anything to say, yes, that's stupid, or that's like a symptom of something negative. That's basically like when we're in a group of people and we're quiet, everybody's talking. That's not a good thing. It's like when you're doing a video and you don't know what to say. It's not a good thing, but that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. I mean, like I want to kind of like overcome this kind of judgment we have about ourselves and others. Um, there's a woman whose name is Lisa. I don't know how to pronounce it, Carnes or something, Cairns. And she's from Great Britain, young woman, I'm guessing 25, 30, I don't know. And she talks about non-duality. That's kind of like her gig. She's been doing it for years. And she actually goes all over the world doing this. I think right now she's in Berlin. She's going to be going to Paris soon. And she puts up the videos on YouTube, and she's got a Ustream channel. And what's cool about this woman is like, she's gorgeous. She's drop dead gorgeous, my God. But what she'll do is like, she will just like, because she will answer questions, through Skype, whatever. I haven't like attended one of her live sessions because I just found out about it, whatever. But there will be like half a minute, sometimes a minute, where she's just like, it's like she's like sitting there, just looking at the monitor and like looking, at the camera, whatever, and just being, just like these moments of these many seconds of silence go by, and it's such a cool thing because it kind of like it just like slows everything down. I'm not able to do that. It's like if 3 seconds go by and I haven't said something, or if like half a second, I'll insert an or a like or a or something like that, or a but okay, what else? Wow, look at this. All right, so we're like 53 seconds so far. And I guess, what may limit this is my voice will go, at some point. So what else? What do I want to talk about? I wish people would do this more. I wish people would be, well, part of like, I haven't succeeded in a lot of ways in life, partly because, very ironically, even though like my work is about teaching people that nothing's up to us, that we don't have a free will, I value freedom otherwise. And I think what I mean is like most of us constrain ourselves to certain kinds of lifestyles. because that's the kind of conformity that success requires. To give an example, there was a lawyer who came to my happiness group some months ago, and he wasn't all that happy. Um, so we're talking about it, and I think he's telling me he's working like 60, 70-hour weeks or something, right? And I mean, the first thing comes to my mind is like, well, you probably don't need all that money. You could probably work 40, 50 hours or even 30 hours, and you'd be making substantially less, but certainly probably, as a lawyer, as much as you would need. And you'd have all this time to kind of like find your happiness. But his answer was that you can't do that. The law firms wouldn't allow that. I'm not sure how completely accurate that is, but I think that reflects a lot of society. I've advocated for like 6-hour work days or 4-day work weeks, because people are overworked. And when they're overworked, they kind of like, they're not as emotionally in control. So when they're not emotionally as in control, they tend to eat too much or, just it isn't all that healthy to be, they don't get enough sleep. Um, so I don't know. Again, I don't like, sometimes I, critique society, and I'm trying not to do that now, although I'm not sure. There's not, you have to do it in the right way. That's the thing. And I'm getting tired. So it's 56, 54. But now I want to do this. I think with me, happiness is something that I value a lot. And like some like gurus and yogis, they could be kind of like very serene. I gotta practice that. I can practice that right now. All right, so like basically what I want to do is like, hold on. What I want to do is lower my intensity. Now I was learning this from that, again, her name is Lisa Cairns or whatever. And, I've seen certain yogis and gurus talk in that way. And it's more relaxed. And because, like, I think the happiness that I kind of like gravitate toward has a certain level of excitement to it, or just like, it isn't the most peaceful. Sometimes it is, if I'm just smiling, whatever. But when I'm talking, I think that, it's a bit different. All right, so should I do this? Because I feel like having fun. I feel I've been working. All right, I'm going to do this for a while. Basically, this is an experiment, and if like you're with me now, you're out of your fucking mind because, what are you doing listening to like, watching an hour of this video? You've got stuff to do? Nah. What I want to do now is an experiment, and this is an experiment for you also. Basically, I'm going to start smiling, and as I'm smiling, I want to, I want to present what I do with my meditation sometimes and what I'm getting better at doing, because I only started this maybe 8, 9 months ago, and I haven't devoted nearly as much time as I could have during this time, but I am getting better at it. And the idea is like simple smiling as posture is a very effective way to just feel better. And so like I'm going to start smiling, and you can, as you're watching it, if you're alone, if people aren't around and stuff, smile with me, okay? Just like, when people start laughing, even when people smile, people are like mimic each other's like behavior and stuff. But anyway, do this experiment and see if it makes you feel better. But All right, and so like the challenge for me is to not like feel silly, because it is kind of like silly to just like smile like that. But all right, here we go. Oh, then I want to frame this a little better. I don't know why. Should I go? Okay. I don't know why I felt the need to do that, but I did. But I did. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so here's the thing. Like, I got to preface this, or we're at 1 hour. Um, Sometimes I will smile very intensely to kind of exercise the smile muscles, because the smile muscles, when you smile, it's physiological and you feel happier. But sometimes when you don't smile all that much, those muscles they atrophy like any other muscle. So, like, sometimes when people smile, they say, oh, it hurts. Well, yes, it hurts. It hurts because you don't smile enough. If you smiled a lot, it wouldn't hurt. It's just like if you run, a mile and you don't ordinarily run, it's going to hurt. All right, so here we go. All right, I gotta here's the thing. I'm looking at myself because, my video cam software has this it's a reverse image. It's not a mirror image, It's like what you're seeing. But I'm looking at myself, and I don't ordinarily do this, so it feels a little strange, but I'll do it. All right, whatever. All right, I gotta stop. I gotta stop because it feels too strange. So I start noticing my face is like somewhat asymmetric, and I say, what the fuck is that about? Because ordinarily I don't notice. I mean, everybody's, unless you really some people's aren't. That's actually kind of like an indication of beauty. The more symmetrical your features are, the more attractive or beautiful or handsome, whatever you tend to be. But all right, so basically what I was doing is I was smiling, then I felt a little silly, then I kind of ramped it up a bit, you know, to kind of exercise the muscles more, but then it felt a bit too intense and stuff. And I don't know, I may do this again. Maybe for something like that. When I do something like that, maybe I should drink 2 or 3 beers before that or something. It's just to kind of release the inhibitions. Yeah, I should probably do that. All right. So, but again, I should, let us try to relax. Let us try to calm all our fears, all our fears, and I don't know why I can't talk better. I mean, for God's sake, I do TV shows, and I think it's like I've been stressed, but so I try to get these words out, and they don't come out, whatever. Um, and I don't like this background. See now, so I'm getting negative, so I'm getting grumpy. This is a little kid, getting too tired, getting grumpy. I don't like this stuff all behind me, the bookcase and all. I just want to have it plain, and I could do it. Yeah, I could move that stuff over to see where that mirror is. This mirror here. I could move the tall bookcase there. There. I can move both of them there, actually there. All right, I'll think about it. I don't know. Because I'm so, sometimes I have a lot of energy to do stuff, and recently I kind of I've been doing stuff, but it's meditating. I'll meditate for hours sometimes, and I try not to the Zen meditators, they'll they'll really, really, you know, exert effort to meditate. Whereas the meditation that I was taught a long time ago, that, you know, the kind that I prefer is like that it's supposed to be effortless, you know. But okay. So, but yeah, because like, you know, so I'm looking at that bookcase behind me and it's just like cluttery. You know, I just want to have like a plain background behind me. And what's cool, you know, in our Manhattan show, if we like, we can have a background, black background behind us, or but if we have a green one, then they'll have like, you know, they can put this background scenery behind us. And like for a while, we were doing like the Manhattan skyscape, which was very cool. You know, these buildings at night and stuff. But then, like more recently, we're featuring part of our intro that I think it has some dominoes behind us and cause and effect and stuff. So my producer really likes that. We've been doing that also, but like, so maybe like, you know, if I get this stuff behind me cleared up, maybe I think blue works well also. And I think I can find a blue sheet or something, drape up there. And it's work. I'd have to find some way to do it, but just to have like a cooler background, that might be cool. Um, Probably won't do it because it's a lot of, you know, I'd have to learn how to do it and stuff. Okay, so, and I haven't been going to the gym for various reasons, whatever. Um, okay, what else? What else? What else? Well, you know, I'm tempted to think about work because there's stuff that I want to get done, but I don't want to because it's not Monday yet, and so this is cool. Yeah, I think basically just relaxing it more, you know, just making it there. You know, peacefulness is joyful. You know, I tend to have again more of the kind of like emphatic, energetic kind of, you know, way of expressing. I mean, I'm not like Robin Williams or something. I'm not ultra hyper, but I want to kind of like, as a matter of fact, I I want to try this technique for my when I go back into the studio on the 6th. You know, I just want to like just slow everything down and give it more of a spiritual feel. Okay, let me dim the lights a bit. Let's see what. Yeah, how's that? Okay. Nah, I don't know. What else? So this is good. This is getting interesting. Again, like I can upload 2 hours. So like to upload a couple of hours of this on YouTube, it might take a couple of hours, but no big deal. Because I'll be meditating or doing something else in the meantime. All right. If you've been with me so far, here's like, what am I doing? You know, people might ask, what is he doing? What is the purpose? And this is where this is like, you know, leads to some learning, some realizations. I'm not doing anything different than anyone else does. Look what, like, in other words, like when you're not working, when you're working, you have to do stuff that has to be done. So it's not really like you don't have a choice, you know, to a great extent, and it's got to be done, whatever. But then consider your free time. Okay, it's like in your free time, you might be talking with friends, which is like in a sense doing exactly what I'm doing, but with the feedback of back and forth with someone. Or you might be watching TV, which is in a sense what you're doing, just watching someone. or you might be reading a book or jogging or going shopping. I mean, these all these things that we do, you know, and I think it's good. I mean, what I'm trying to get to is like, why do we do this stuff? Because, well, because we've got to do something. In other words, like we're hedonic creatures. We seek pleasure and avoid pain. And a lot of times we stay active, we get active, we keep active because because the alternative is unpleasant. I mean, sometimes people put a value judgment on it. People like, there's a lot of people like, there's a woman that comes to my meetup group. I feel bad for her. I'm going to try to help her. She kind of like, she works a full-time job. She gets home and, she might like start to read a book and feel guilty that, or watch TV, watch a movie, and she feels guilty because she feels she's wasting time and that she should be doing something more quote unquote productive. And, I'm trying to get her to understand, listen, or if there's things you absolutely have to do, like the dishes or laundry or something, yeah, certainly, but like that our lives aren't about being quote unquote productive. Our lives are, if anything at all, are simply about enjoying. And I think sometimes a lot of people don't get that enough. But I don't know, I had more to the point, more to say about that. I definitely am going to, you know why? Because here's the thing, I'm trying to do this, and I think one of the reasons that I get distracted as I do is like I'm looking at the stuff behind me. My eye just naturally goes to it, and I'm thinking if there was like a plain wall there, even like get rid of this. I don't use this lamp. I mean, I was going to use it to kind of like, see, it really screws up the lighting, but I don't really use it, so I could put it somewhere else. And just have like a background that's like, for you that's not distracting, and for me that's not distracting. Okay. So what else? Going on an hour and 11, 12 minutes. Hey, you want to talk about death? Let's talk about death. Okay. So we all die. And I'm kind of like looking forward to death, really, because like, after 57 years here, I've pretty much seen it. I mean, yeah, there's a new iPhone, whatever is coming out, whatever, all this, high tech, really cool stuff. But still, like, I think for me also is like I tend to be kind of like a perfectionist. I mean, like I see the world could be so blissful, so utopian, but that's how it should be. But yet we're torturing animals, and like a billion people on the planet don't have enough to eat and drink, or don't have enough medicine, and like even like just climate change. My God, I mean, like the we don't seem to have the political will to do what we need to do about it, which will mean that we will experience a devolution of civilization, and who knows what that will bring about. And so, like, I don't know, but no, that's so. No, I mean, I'm kind of lucky, like, and I'm kind of like looking forward to death as something new. While I'm here, I'm gonna like just work to enjoy it, because like happiness is work. It's not like something that you either work at stuff, and the work at stuff, the stuff you work at kind of like naturally produces a happiness, or my approach is more direct. Well, if I want to be really, really happy, my work is going to be to a great extent about being really, really happy. But aside from that, I've got a neighbor. He's a young kid. He's got this like Woody Woodpecker laugh. Sometimes I go back and forth with him. But it's good though. He does. I don't know what he watches there, but it's some comedy. So yeah, with death, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of like, again, there's a few alternatives. I mean, let's say nothing happens. If nothing happens, then like, does it really, really, really matter whether I'm here like 57 years or 80 or or 20 or whatever. No, same for everyone. Like this is just like there's like zillions. There's easily billions of years on in front of us and behind us. So like 80, 100 years just doesn't matter. So like, but if there is something, which I tend to believe there is, I tend to choose to believe there is just because it makes me feel better. No other reason except that, beyond that. But I mean, it kind of would make sense in a way, but like life doesn't make sense anyhow. I mean, why is reality reality, and why is this world here? Whatever. Because like, no, this is important. Because like ordinarily, people say, well, the meaning of life is that like, well, we're supposed to grow. We're supposed to actualize, become, learn and become better and better. That kind of makes sense, right? Until you realize that nothing is up to us, and once you realize we don't have a free will, then you have to question that, because basically, like, what we're experiencing this is like we're in a play and nothing's up to us. If we grow, to the extent we grow, how we grow is completely written out for us. So this whole like become more, become better, actualize and stuff paradigm just ceases to make sense, because again, it's like it's God playing with us as little soldiers or whatever. But no, I think the attraction of death to me also is yeah, if there is something, what I just like I I've never really done drugs. I experimented with that synthetic cannabis back in 2010 when it was legal. And I guess the reason probably I don't experiment with drugs more is because they are illegal, so what the fuck? But like this guy, I'm learning about this stuff called DMT that apparently it's illegal now, but you can go to YouTube and there's people who describe their experiences on it, because there are certain countries like Peru and maybe other countries where it is legal. So they go do it there, whatever. And and actually the guy who I knew about it a bit before, but I didn't know anything about it really. I mean, I just heard of it. But the guy who interviewed me a couple of weeks ago, this guy Michael Donovan that I mentioned in the previous podcast, very cool guy, he had done it. And and he, I think I mentioned this. He would ask these beings, who is God? And then they say, well, God is like the regional manager of this, district manager of this part of the universe. And then I don't know. Basically, like the I've watched maybe 2 or 3 videos on this stuff, but it's intriguing because like with marijuana, I don't know, I've never been on LSD or heroin or anything like that, but so I can't, or opium, whatever. But my understanding is that this kind of experience with DMT is a bit different in that it's maybe more quote unquote spiritual as opposed to experiential, because like it may have to do much more with actually communicating with beings, call them angels, I don't know what you want to call them, aliens you can call them, that actually impart information to the people, and the experience apparently only lasts 6-10 minutes. It's very short lived, but it's very intriguing. So I think what I'm trying to say is that like, all right, there's only 4% of the universe, the known universe, that we can perceive. The rest of it is this dark matter, dark energy. We have no idea what it is. We just know it exerts a gravitational pull, at least, for example. But it's stuff like those testimonies of the DMT and then like near-death experiences that lead me to suspect that, yeah, there is something that that follows us after we die, that we don't just die and that's it. So I guess like getting back to death, and it'd be pretty cool to experience that. I mean, like, whatever. All right, I'm feeling uncomfortable talking about death more now, and I don't know why, but that's all right. I'm just gonna like, um, okay, an hour and 20 minutes. Um, I should wrap this up soon. That's 2 hours. Come on. Should have put. Yeah, I should wrap this up soon because it's almost 7, and I want to like get meditating. This is going to take like about 2 hours to upload. Most of you guys would be asleep by 9 or 10. You know. Um, so yeah. All right. So this has been good. And like next time, fate willing. And next time might come as soon as tomorrow. I don't know. I want to make one of these every day. And it's going to be interesting because, like, it's going to get harder, because, like, I really, the purpose, I don't want to prepare this. I don't want to come, and that's what's been happening, on my way home when I was in town earlier. I was kind of like thinking to myself, what am I going to talk about? What am I talking about? And it was kind of like becoming problematic. It was becoming like a burden, and I don't want it to be this way. So like, but I do want it to be completely unprepared. I don't want to know what I'm supposed to talk about until I get here, So, all right, so I'll do more of that. I am tired, but this was fun. This was fun. It's something to do. Again, it's like I did this for 2 hours. Now, like, what's the difference? What's really the difference between doing this for 2 hours or watching a football game for 2 hours or meditating for 2 hours or reading a book for 2 hours or going shopping for 2 hours? I mean, it's just 2 hours. I mean, like, how many 2 hours, my God, just 1/12 of a day. Um, but that's the thing. It's like, it's 2 new hours. People don't do this. So it's kind of like cool to do what people don't ordinarily do that it's not no it's yeah it's 2 new hours, yeah, because so much of the stuff that we do, we know what it's like. We've done it before. We know what it's like to go shopping. We know what it's like to spend time talking with people. It's not that those things aren't enjoyable. They are. But to the extent that we're learning, understanding, even though the understanding is not up to us, I think there's got to be value in that. All right, well, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving weekend, and if the fates are willing, I shall be back tomorrow.